When I was a younger man, there was something known as the MCU that took the world by storm. And what the MCU was the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it was the biggest, probably the biggest and the most ambitious set of movies that we've gotten in a long time. And the reason that I say that is because the MCU brought together heroes that just people never thought we'd ever see in a live action setting on screen at the same time. I mean, first of all, look at this picture here. You have Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, Thor, and Hawkeye. And this is just from the first Avengers movie. That's not even counting what we see in Infinity War, Endgame, even Age of Ultron. But the biggest problem I think is that the MCU hit a peak at a certain point, and it could never hit that peak again. It had one fluke with No Way Home. And No Way Home, to be completely honest, I'm sorry to say, is not even all that good. But No Way Home is a nostalgia trip, so people think of it fondly. And it's cool, but it's not anything special. The fall of the MCU can be attributed to, I think, a few things. Disney Plus, for one, because they needed content to put onto their streaming service. And what the hell else would you do besides, make a few shows? You know what I mean? I mean, screw it. Moon Knight, She Hulk, um, WandaVision, the Hawkeye show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, do all that stuff, Loki. Um, and the second thing I think is that a lot of the cast left after Endgame. Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson filmed the Black Widow movie and then just dipped, quite literally. Um, Mark Ruffalo's around still. Jeremy Renner is kind of still around. Thor is around Chris Hemsworth, but Thor is now so watered down and not cool anymore that you could be forgiven to think that Thor is not really around in the MCU now. Like he's not going to have the same impact that he like Thor had like a 2 movie run where he was cool. He had Thor Ragnarok and he had Avengers Infinity War, which is a shame because Thor in the comics is all stoic and all that stuff, and here he's goofy and funny, but he's basically just rated. Thor's literally just rated, right? But another part of this is, guys, is that the MCU got too greedy, thinking that because they were Marvel, that people were just gonna love these shows. And then a lot of the shows were either bad or mid. And the one cool show, the one opportunity that you had to, stamp your approval and to get people back on your side with Moon Knight, the one good show that actually like came out besides Loki, and you make it not canon. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Like, just stop it. Just like stop at this point. And then the movies have been pretty mid too. I mean, look, Love and Thunder, Eternals, which is not as bad as people say. Um, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, The Marvels. Was there anything else? No Way Home is like, the outlier. That's like the best out of the post Endgame MCU movies. I think that Deadpool is going to be make or break for the MCU, which is already a dying brand. Oh, and Ant-Man Quantumania came out. Sorry. I there was gonna be someone in the comments that said, "Well, you forgot about Quantumania." forgive me for, forgetting about a mid movie of a D tier character. I'm sorry, okay? I don't care about the fact that, Ant-Man is the reason that Kang even existed in the MCU in the first place. But now Kang's out of the MCU because they fired Jonathan Majors. So now they're what? They're just gonna go right to Galactus now, even though that was not the plan the whole time. This whole thing is an absolute mess. The MCU is in shambles, and DC is not much better, but DC's got some sort of plan. James Gunn's planning something. The MCU has no plan, none. They were counting on Jonathan Majors to carry them for the next 2 or 3 years to get to Galactus slowly to make it a slow burn, I guess. But now that Jonathan Majors is out, everything's gonna change. Everything's gonna change. And you know what? It's it it really is unfortunate. It truly is an unfortunate set of circumstances because I genuinely loved the MCU. I went to see most of the movies in theaters, some with my friends, but now they're just movies or now the MCU is a laughing stock to most fans don't that aren't biased towards it. Like you can love something but not like it at the same time. That is possible. You can love something but also be very, very critical of it. That is also possible. And I think that everyone has to accept that the MCU is no longer the powerhouse that they, once were. It was to the point where they had DC changing their films to keep up with them. That's no longer a thing. Now, the MCU is putting out Echo, Echo, and Secret Invasion. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Echo and Secret Invasion. That's all that I have to say. Echo and Secret Invasion. What are we doing? And why are we doing this? If you like what you saw, make sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell for all of the notifications. We're on the road to 300. I love you guys. I'll see y'all later. And can somebody please purchase Disney so that we can get Star Wars and Marvel back? Thank you. I love y'all.